All right, guys, time for everybody's new favorite segment of This Week in Marvel. The interview segment. Oh, you know what? We need a special segment, like a special intro like you have, Mr. Sam Roberts, our guest for this segment.
What a segue.
So Sam is the host of a million things. He's been on WWE Network. You can hear him on Sirius XM. You can hear his podcast. What are you doing, Sam?
Well, right now I'm on the Marvel This Week in Marvel podcast.
That's what we got to rebrand it. The Marvel This Week in Marvel.
Marvel's This Week in Marvel podcast. Yeah, you walked over here from Sirius, yeah?
Yeah, I've been meaning to do this for like a year.
Yeah,
or
it's been
something
crazy.
Like that.
We can't, because I think it was after WrestleMania 30. You were on my flight on the way back, I remember. Because we were saying, we're like, oh, yeah, we got to get you over here, And then it was just a series of
I'm doing this,
schedulings, cancellations. You know how it is.
Because Sirius XM is literally across the street. I didn't even know that you guys are right next door to Melt Shop.
Yeah?
Oh,
I love the Melt Shop.
You love the Melt Shop?
I love the Melt Shop.
When did we get the Melt Shop? That was
That was almost a year ago.
Yeah, it was exciting when it happened.
My brother-in-law's cousin, I don't know, some guys related to my brother-in-law runs the Melt Shop.
Really?
The overall deal.
Why aren't we getting deals?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because I'm lactose intolerant and I don't want to help.
I'm not.
I don't know.
Are you?
Not even close.
Look at this right here.
I will look into this because it's nothing I've exploited because, it would kill me. But
It might be worth it.
maybe.
Really good.
If I'm going to go, that's the way I'm going to go. But yeah, you walked over from Sirius, which is right near here.
Yeah, it's across the street.
You are going daily on Sirius.
Yes, well, Sam Roberts' show has been on for about I've been doing shows over there in some way, shape, or form for, close to 10 years at this point. But Sam Roberts' show, in its current form, has been on Friday afternoons for a year. And as of Monday, June 1st, which will probably have already happened.
Yep.
No. This is going up
This is
Thursday,
breaking
man.
news.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, so as of
there
this
you go.
Monday, June 1st.
That's why we were so rushed to get you in
Yeah,
here. We
like,
wanted to
let's
get you
do
in to
this
make it
now.
live.
As of Monday, which is June 1st, Sam Roberts' show will be live every day at noon on XM 103 and Sirius 206 OB Radio.
That's big, man. Congratulations.
Thanks.
How long is it going to be daily?
It's going to start at 2 hours, so noon to 2 Eastern, and then it'll expand to 3 in short order.
What are you going to talk about for 2-3 hours every day?
That's 15 hours of programming. Are you ready?
Have you
Plus,
thought about this?
Whatever else you're working
This is last-minute intervention. Like, do you know what you're doing?
Well, here's the thing. Like, you guys have a Marvel-branded podcast.
We do.
And we're not even sort of talking about anything Marvel right now. So
I'll get there. Maybe. I don't know.
I feel like all I'm doing is calling it Sam Roberts Show, so I will literally talk about whatever I want.
So this is a good preview.
Yeah.
So for those of our listeners who enjoy this segment of the show, tune on into Sirius and listen to Sam's show.
Yeah, subscribe to Sirius and listen to Sam Roberts Show every day at noon on OP Radio.
Are you going to have Katie on?
Oh, yeah.
Is she
Katie
going to be
Landau?
daily or?
She won't be daily because she's traveling all the time.
Ugh.
But she'll be a very regular presence on the show.
She's done some stuff for us.
Katie Lindendahl?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. She's done some stuff at Past San Diego's for us. She's definitely into the Marvel life, as is Sam.
Yes.
Friends of Marvel. What was the old club? Friends of Old Marvel?
Friends of Old Marvel.
Friends of Old
Boom.
Marvel. Boom. That was the thing.
I spent a long time. My real Marvel connection is all throughout 3rd, 4th, and a little bit of 5th grade.
Yeah.
Obsessed with X-Men cards.
Yes.
And Marvel. We called them X-Men cards, but it
Yes.
wasn't just the X-Men cards.
There were just X-Men
Yeah,
cards.
and I know I had them, but I also had
You
quite a
called the
collection.
Marvel card X-Men cards.
Yeah, Marvel masterpieces.
Oh, all right.
The whole deal.
Favorite subset?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember having a giant binder full,
Yep.
and I went to a public elementary school that wasn't exactly in an affluent area.
Okay.
So the only time
political.
I could bring my X-Men cards to school was when I brought my book bag and put a lock
Oh, man.
on the 2 zippers, because otherwise that binder would not come home with me.
Oh, man.
We rushed you into the podcast, our elaborate podcast studio.
Headquarters.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But
Thank you.
before you go, we'll give you a little bit of the tour and show you. We have uncut sheets of old Marvel trading cards, which are like my favorite thing to show because one, you never see them anywhere else, and two, most of the guests who come in, who we give tours to, are of our like similar age and demographics, and like I had that, I had that.
It was literally the only way I got my homework done then because I just wasn't motivated to do any work in school, and my mom would say if you come home and you do your homework and you get it done by a certain time. Yeah. You'll get a star or a point or whatever it was. And then it was like 5 points equals one pack of X-Men cards. Yeah. And I was like, done. I will do my homework every day if I'm getting X-Men cards.
So wait, here, hold on. Hard-hitting journalism. What happened in 5th grade? Because you were like 3rd, 4th, part of 5th.
Yeah,
I mean, it was an event, obviously.
I don't know. I feel like they weren't. Because some kids, I think right around 5th, 6th grade is when some kids, not me, but some other kids start finding
they abandoned it, right?
Women.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, there's girls around. So then my friends with the X-Men cards were starting to date girls, and so I just went deeper into the world of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So you doubled down and went the opposite direction.
That's right.
There was that, I don't know if this happened to you, Ryan. Because I had this moment where, like, everyone was into comics, everyone was into wrestling. Then there was a moment that it, like, flipped, and you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be the girls, you're supposed to be all that. And I was like, well, I can do both. And if comics have taught me anything, I can have, like, the secret identity. So I just started being really secretive about, like, going to comic shops and about watching wrestling, about all that stuff. But I still, like, I was still doing it all. And I remember, like, one of my buddies, like, my best friend, who the reason we were best friends is because we both love comics. We both told each other, we're like, hey, man, I'm done with comics. Oh, yeah, I'm done with comics, too. And I ran into it because I started going to a store, like, 4 towns away from me just so I wouldn't see anybody. And I ran into him there, and it was one of the most awkward moments of my life.
Terrific.
Yeah.
That's almost like a bonding moment. Like, you at
think.
that point, let's just be honest with each other.
You would think, but we just didn't say anything to each other and walked out of the store and never talked about it again.
That's horrible.
It was terrible.
You know, there's a lot of similarities between comics fans and wrestling fans and just, you know, both forms of entertainment. But one thing I always find that's interesting is a lot of comic fans and a lot of wrestling fans go through a period where they love it as a kid and then they stop. Something happens, you know, like you're talking about with the cards, or you're talking about with wrestling, whatever it is. Like Pete Rosenberg, he had that with wrestling. I had it with comics and with wrestling.
That's why I honestly have trouble respecting Peter Rosenberg as a wrestling guy, because he proclaims himself a wrestling guy, and he's got his wrestling podcast, and he interviews all the wrestlers, and he wasn't watching during the Attitude Era.
Right.
If you're, say, between 25 and 40, and you weren't watching during the Attitude Era,
it hurts your cred.
I can't really have a conversation with you about it, right? I can't have a wrestling conversation with you at that point.
I remember being, like, hanging out in the summer at people's houses and flipping back and forth between Nitro and Raw, and we would play one of the Aki N64 wrestling games. Like, when we weren't watching, we were playing that game, and, like, it was just such a normal part of those Mondays.
I was working at like a sleepaway summer camp, summer of '98, which was like, oh god, I can't believe I'm missing Raw during summer of '98. So what I would do was, the camp was 2 hours away from my house. I would have my girlfriend at the time tape Raw for me because she was still staying at home. I would, after the kids went to bed or whatever, which was like 9 o'clock, I would drive home, say hello to her, grab the VHS, and then drive back out. I would not get back out to camp until about 1 in the morning. Me and my buddies there would watch Raw. We would go to bed at 3. I would repeat this every Monday night. So,
you see, that's
the cred, man.
And that's what people who watch Raw now don't realize
understand.
Is like it was such appointment TV.
Oh yeah,
there was absolutely no excuse to not watch this stuff.
Yeah. Also, it was only 2 hours long, and it was more manageable.
That's true. It was a little more manageable.
Yeah, slightly more manageable. So, actually, it's fortuitous we have you in here right now.
Yeah, it is.
Because this is Wednesday, and, like, huge news just hit the internet on wrestling.
I dropped my wrestling podcast this morning.
Oh, no.
So I'm sitting there going, like, here's what I think about TNA. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter. Because the real news happened after the podcast dropped.
So to sum up, it was announced today that Ring of Honor is going to be on Destination America, which is the current home of TNA, and we don't know what's going on with TNA. I mean, as we speak now, they're supposedly having a conference call with the talent.
Can we dial in and put that on the show? The best was, like, Mike from PWI Insider. I follow him on Twitter, and people were like, are you going to be on the call? And he's like, I'm not an employee. How do you-
Talent.
Yeah. Why would you think I'm on that call? I love stuff like that where there's like this disconnect of how everything works.
Yeah, and how much access people have.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're a wrestling guy.
Yeah. You've watched a lot of hours of wrestling, right? you know some of the guys. You can get on that.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So, if you could record your podcast over again, which you can't, instead just talk on our podcast, what would be your thoughts on all this?
Well, I mean, there's no doubt. So, as of now, as of the time this podcast is being recorded,
Yes, which could change again by the time this podcast goes up.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's my understanding that the way they're setting it up is, as of this Wednesday,
Yeah.
Ring of Honor is on at 8 and Impact's on at 9.
Yeah.
Now, Ring of Honor just posted a thing on Facebook announcing and confirming, and they have the graphics saying we will be on Destination America this Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
It's Ring of Honor, and this was their tagline: the best wrestling on the planet.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, what? I was texting with a couple people in TNA, like, what is going on down there? And they're like, no clue.
No clue.
No clue. Because I can't imagine how this is even feasible. You could say, okay, they're creating a wrestling block. It's not competition. It definitely is competition.
Definitely.
And especially in the language that they're using, the best wrestling on the planet.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the show that's on after
Yeah.
us.
Oh, boy.
What are you doing? What are you doing if you're TNA? How do you enter into a TV deal that allows a network to sign another wrestling show to go on leading into you?
Well, here's here's the point blank question: is there a chance that they're working together, TNA and ROH? Is there a chance, just because things are because of what you just said, the fact that it seems completely unfeasible that anyone in their right mind would sign this kind of contract, because there's been all this, all this stuff about TNA and Destination America, but no one's saying anything official, and they're all like, smoke and mirrors.
And threatening to sue people on the
exactly.
internet.
Threatening to sue
What?
people on the
Did you hear
internet.
TNA did that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they
Like,
did.
Is this ridiculous enough that this could be, and like you said, like a kind of the competitive nature of the we're on the channel?
I mean,
is there any chance?
Of course there's a
There's always a
chance.
chance.
It's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, if this turns into this is a work
Yeah.
and TNA and Ring of Honor are putting on some kind of competitive deal,
Yeah,
it's exactly what TNA needs, and it's the greatest thing I've ever
exactly
heard.
what they need. Yeah,
Isn't it like so? AWA teamed up with 2 other promotions, right?
Right.
Right before they all
it
crumbled.
was NWA and World Class, right?
Was it World Class? And then they did what was
Super
it?
Clash.
Super Clash.
Super
Oh
Clash,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that's the first thing that came to mind is like, oh yeah, there's one promotion like in your mind you're like, yes, this could be really cool because I want to see a lot of those guys together in a really fun heated angle, but at the same time it could just be that.
Well,
and I worry.
I think that long term it makes no sense
Mhm.
for one of the two,
Right.
at least. And Ring of Honor is not in trouble.
No, they don't need anything.
Yeah, the Ring of Honor is like kind of at this place where they've always been. They're not necessarily growing as fast as I would like them to. They're not really growing at all, but they're in this spot where they're self-sufficient. At least it seems like you never hear about them going bankrupt. They just had those giant New Japan shows.
Yeah.
So, the fact that this is coming, just like, oh, by the way, it's Wednesday, and in a week we're gonna have Ring of Honor on TV, or it's whatever day it is today. But I think that the only way for this to work for TNA is if it's some kind of cooperative thing. TNA would need to come out looking victoriously, which would crush Ring of Honor
Right.
because
Yeah.
there goes all of their sort
Right.
of indie, little engine that could cred.
Right.
In the short term, if this is a work, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
But long term, it's not good news for Ring of Honor. It'll put them out of business
Mhm.
unless Dixie bought Ring of Honor, and
But they're owned by a cable.
Sinclair,
You're
yeah,
by Sinclair.
I don't see it as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And even for TNA, it's like, okay, like once you do the Ring of Honor angle, you're still
Yeah.
TNA. Like,
Well, yeah, I think
what's the long term strategy?
The only long-term thing they would do is if their plans were to be like a super promotion permanently, and like they're gonna mesh at some point. But I don't see how that would work.
Right,
Given what
'cause
you
it's
just
like-
outlined.
Right, because you go, okay, well, now we're TNA, but we got the Bucks and the Briscoes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is that super promotion? Like, okay, Jay Lethal's back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The thing that blew my mind was because you were saying you're like, oh, this just kind of like dropped. It just happened out of nowhere. But every guy on the ROH roster had a tweet ready to go.
That was
with them, with the logo, with everything.
But that's how you do it. When
Yeah,
you're like
it was
professional
great,
and you're ready to go, you get all your ducks lined up.
Mm-hmm.
You pull the trigger, and boom, 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 boom. It's an assault. It was smart. It was,
Yeah.
because I was
Smart.
seeing all
It's
kinds
really
of
cool.
stuff from dudes I don't follow, and I was like, this is great. This is do it.
The problem, and the reason why I would be more inclined to believe that it's some kind of work if they were directly taking shots at TNA.
Yeah.
But Ring of Honor is promoting it as check out our show
Right.
on Destination America. Not
Yeah.
check out our show, it's on before TNA. Not check out our show, we're taking TNA over. Not
Yeah.
nothing. It's just this is the channel we're on. Watch our
Yeah.
show.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a work. I was just like,
It
there's
is.
that little bit of, there's enough breadcrumbs there. And of course, that you could say, like you said, you'd say that for anything to do with wrestling.
Right.
You can think anything's a work because
And-
that's how we've been conditioned.
And just because it's not a work right now doesn't
mean
mean
it
they
won't be,
don't
yeah.
try to figure something out at the last
Yeah,
minute
that could be
and
what's
make it
happening.
work.
Yeah, Dixie could be scrambling right now to try to
Yeah.
make something happen.
Yeah. I also so it's Wednesday. They're gonna both be on, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same night as NXT
Yeah.
and the
Lucha
same
Underground.
night as Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people who listen to the podcast know I love Lucha Underground. I watched that. I watched 6 episodes in a row. Finally caught up.
You know who's a Lucha Underground fan?
Who's that?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried just for
Lucha?
Lucha because I don't know how much that crossover is already there. I don't know. It's an interesting thing because that's like this one night where there are 4 separate shows on.
I mean, NXT is almost a non-issue because you can
Right.
always watch it on demand,
Right.
which I think a lot of people do. But yeah, I still haven't gotten a chance to look at Lucha. And
Aren't you just in LA?
yeah,
They do tapings all the time.
I know everybody was telling me I was supposed to go to a PWG show while I was out there. I didn't do that either. Everybody's been telling me though that's the thing to watch. So I'm going to at some point, and I'm going to kick myself for not having been on the bandwagon from the beginning.
Yeah. I'm the same. I haven't watched it yet because I don't have El Rey and I want to watch. But I feel like you said, from what I know of Lucha Underground, it seems like they're still wrestling, but it is like kind of a different genre.
Sure.
And I do feel like here's what I'll say though, like because of it's a season and it's more of a storytelling nature. I
Yeah.
feel like it lends itself to binge watching more. And I think that's why they'll be
Fair.
like you said, you watch 6 episodes in a row. I think that's because like they're telling more of an arc.
Yeah.
Whereas, like Ring of Honor and TNA are going to continue to be like ongoing.
Check out what's going on this week. Oh, I gotta watch this week.
Exactly.
Or, you know.
Yeah, like you said, like NXT, you can watch whenever. Lucha Underground, there's a little less demand that you need to watch it now or be spoiled.
Right.
So those two, I think, will be okay. I think it's more
TNA's in a
Yeah.
lot of
a
trouble.
lot of trouble.
TNA is in a lot of trouble. I guess the last thing I read before all this was that they were talking about maybe they were going to cancel them in September
Yeah,
and at least run the summer. But this kind of feels to me like it's Destination America being a little dirty.
Oh, yeah.
This feels like when TNN before it was Spike
yeah.
TV,
Yeah.
whatever it was,
Mhm.
when they brought on ECW.
Yeah.
And then ECW was like, okay, time for more shows. And they were like, well, we're going to put Raw on instead.
yeah.
Except this is the reverse. They're like, no,
Yeah.
we found a cheaper show than
Yeah.
TNA, and we're going to put that one on, and people like it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw that TNA had shows running, and then Ring of Honor took over some of those dates. Was that last year or was that this year? There was maybe
You mean like live shows?
yeah, like a live
That
show.
was last year.
Was that last year?
Yeah, that because remember they took over the thing at MCU Park.
Right. The
Yeah, yeah,
baseball
yeah.
show.
Yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, TNA doesn't run live shows anymore at all.
No, they've been making noise about maybe doing it again.
Where
Yeah, they
I think
don't.
That's the least of their concerns right now.
It's I mean, yeah, because right now TNA is designed to me to be less of almost like Lucha, to be less of a wrestling company. It's not a wrestling company; it's a TV show. They don't tour. They don't they're guys. They work 3-day weekends, do whatever it is, 6 TV shows, and that's 6 weeks of TV, and then we'll see you in a month. They're designed to be a TV show. Problem is, they need a channel
They
to
need
be
TV
on if
to-
they're a
yeah,
TV
yeah.
show.
ugh.
And now that Destination America has Ring of Honor, like it makes me like, oh no, this is worse
Yeah.
than when everybody was like, oh, they're gonna be off Spike TV, they're gonna go out of business, and all the TNA guys were like, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like this feels way worse than that.
Does Destination America add Global Forces the third hour? That would be amazing.
I guess it could, but then TNA's like, we've spent all this time trying to brand ourselves as the second to
Yeah.
WWE, and now we're just sandwiched
Yeah.
between Global Force and Ring of Honor.
Destination America just becomes like the wrestling channel.
Yeah.
Like this is the counter to WWE Network, is we've snatched up everyone else.
I mean, it would be great news for Ring of Honor, and it would be
Sure.
great news for Global Force.
Yeah.
But TNA is still just like, oh, come
true,
on,
man.
guys.
And the Bucks can sandwich both hours of TV.
right.
Because they're Global Force
Yeah.
superstars as
Oh
well.
my god.
Oh my gosh, so much fun stuff. NXT, you're watching that
I
regularly?
love NXT.
So good, right?
Yeah, you know who was on the wrestling podcast this week?
Who's that?
Big Cass and Enzo.
Oh,
Yes.
How's that?
They're the realest dudes in the room.
For our This Week in Marvel listeners who've not listened to your wrestling podcast, you have a bunch of segments. Explain a little bit about what you do on there.
Well, the first thing that I did when I got a wrestling podcast was what you alluded to in the beginning of this podcast, which was track down Howard Finkel and get him to cut all my liners.
Oh, man.
Because immediately there's legitimacy to that. Like, wow, if Howard Finkel
Yeah.
is announcing him, I guess I'll listen.
And that's something we can't steal now.
Right.
Oh,
he's
we
mine.
could steal from someone else, though. We know
Right,
enough
okay,
voice actors.
okay.
We can make this right.
So I do. I come on the podcast, talk for a couple minutes, go straight to an interview because I feel like on a lot of podcasts, not like this one that's not an interview podcast, but there are a lot of interview podcasts that start with a long monologue,
Right.
and I think sometimes people skip the monologues.
Yep.
So it's like, you know what? If you don't want to hear the monologue, don't listen to it. I do a couple minutes just to set up the thing, do an interview, and then do a State of Wrestling monologue where I talk about whatever's going on in wrestling right now. I've had a bunch of people on. It's great timing. I had Kevin Owens on last week,
Oh man, that is great time.
Enzo and Big Cass this week, and then a bunch coming up in the future.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, super fun.
it's on iTunes and Stitcher and notsam.com.
All right, so you can listen to you there. You can listen to you on Sirius
Right.
every day at
Right.
noon,
Right.
beginning on Monday.
Right.
Follow you on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere else.
At Not Sam on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Wow, so that's pretty much everything.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Oh man, thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you on again. The next time something big happens in wrestling and it's already Wednesday, just come on over.
I will.
And you can be on here. It'll be perfect.
And if you need guests to fill your 3 hours
Oh, yeah.
on one of the days, you know where to find us.
I will.
We're
I'll-
across the
We're,
street.
we're a melt shop away.
Yeah, I'll bring one of the Nutella milkshakes.
Good.